What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? You know it's Mr. Tokyo Ish Sports TV, and I'm back with another one. You know I'm at these niggas' neck like necklace, and I'm going up like helium. Before I jump in this video, make sure I hit that like and make sure I hit that subscription button. Now let me jump right in. So, two things. I'm gonna discuss two things. Bob Arum, the reason why this nigga is mad, because I didn't know the reason why he was mad at Terence Crawford. But an article came out explaining why Bob Arum was mad, why Bob Arum was throwing Terence Crawford under the bus. And I wasn't aware of that. And we're going to discuss Shawn Porter versus Terence Crawford. Alright, so there's an article came out, I think today came out, I was reading it and shit. And it was basically saying the reason why Bob Arum is mad and Bob Arum is taking these angles at Terence Crawford and want to tarnish his name and slander his name is because Terence Crawford and his team came publicly saying that his lawyer wrote a letter to Bob Arum because Terence Crawford was unhappy with his opponents. So Bob Arum felt like it should have been in private. It should have never reached the newspaper. It should have never reached news or wherever it reached. So he felt betrayed. He felt like they could have handled it like men. It didn't have to reach the media. So that's why you see Bob Arum been saying all this stuff about Terence Crawford, saying he lost money on him, saying this guy is not marketable. The reason why he didn't make the Manny Pacquiao fight was because he was gonna lose money. The reason why he didn't make the Errol Spence fight because he was gonna lose money. So this is why Bob Arum is going at Terence Crawford, and Bob Arum is making sure to defamate Terence Crawford's character and make it look like Terence Crawford is worth nothing but a damn penny. This is the real reason why. Is it right for Bob Arum to do? Hell fucking no. Hell no, bro. Hell no. If you felt that Terence Crawford did something that you didn't approve of, and you felt like, oh, it wasn't tasteful to you, you feel me? You could have simply just sit here and have a conversation with that man. You don't have to try to make it look like this man ain't shit and this man don't want to fight nobody, and you're trying to give him fights that nobody want to see him fight. So the narrative that Terence Crawford don't want to fight nobody or aren't fight nobody continues. You're trying to set this man up for failure. That shit is not right. So that's the reason why Bob Arum is mad. That's the reason why recently he been coming out saying obnoxious, rude stuff about somebody that put a lot of money in his pocket despite of what he want to say, because Terence Crawford is Bob Arum's best fighter. Lomachenko did not sell more pay-per-views than Terence Crawford. Lomachenko did not sell more than Terence Crawford. So the notation that he lost money on Terence Crawford, miss me with that shit. It's just because he's mad and he feels that Bud is gonna leave him. So he's trying everything in his best to make Bud look bad. And it's working. Because a lot of Terence Crawford fans are turning on him saying, oh, why didn't Terence Crawford fight nobody yet? Oh, he needs to fight somebody now. Well, with that being said, we got great news. Shawn Porter, I think yesterday, he had an interview and he was explaining in details what happened with Terence Crawford. So, a couple years back, Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter, before I say that, Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford, they have a close relationship. They're great friends. So, a couple years ago, I guess they made some type of agreement that they weren't gonna fight each other, and if they were gonna fight each other, they're gonna come to like each other, like men, and negotiate and talk about it. But I guess Shawn Porter went to the media and said he wants to fight Terence Crawford after they made an agreement, like if they want to fight, they come to each other and they spoke about it like men, instead of the media creating narratives and the media running with shit. So I guess Shawn Porter said that left a bad taste in Terence Crawford's mouth, and Terence Crawford didn't like that. And after he took it to social media, saying that, oh, closed mouth don't get fed, oh, like he felt like Terence Crawford was ducking him, that left a bad taste in Terence Crawford's mouth, and Terence Crawford stopped responding to his calls and stopped responding to his texts. Now, I guess Tuesday, him and Terence Crawford had a conversation, and he basically was trying to explain to Terence Crawford, apologized to Terence Crawford, and told Terence Crawford that he's sorry for what he did, or whatever the case may be, because he could have came to him like a man, and they could have talked about it behind closed doors instead of bringing shit to the media and made it look like Terence Crawford don't want to have nothing to do with Shawn Porter, when in retrospect and in reality, they had made an arrangement that if they want to fight each other, they're going to talk behind closed doors. So now, Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford is in closed doors negotiation. So that's why a lot of people are not hearing about that. But Shawn Porter spoke to Terence Crawford, and he presented a good argument to Terence Crawford, and the reason why he felt like they should fight, and he wants to fight Terence Crawford. So he said maybe this fall they're gonna fight, but they're waiting for Terence Crawford to do what he wants to do because the cards are on his table. What I feel about that whole situation is, I fuck with Terence Crawford, don't get me wrong, like I fuck with him and shit like that. That like I understand how he feel. Like he felt like Shawn Porter, like, why the fuck you trying to make it look like niggas don't want to fight you when me and you had an agreement? But I don't think that should stop him from fighting Shawn Porter. Like, get Shawn Porter out of the way. Get him out the way, bro. Like, Terence Crawford, you should get Shawn Porter out the way. Take up that offer, whatever you and Shawn Porter spoke about, take up that offer, and then, because he did that shit, you feel me, beat his ass in the ring. Because Shawn Porter stated that he rather have Terence Crawford as an enemy in the ring for 12 rounds, and after that, he could be friends. Because life is going to continue. And he don't want to lose a friend, basically. So he said that they could be enemies for 12 rounds in the ring, and they could be friends right after that. And I agree. So I feel like Terence Crawford, this is a big opportunity. Like, Terence Crawford should hear out Shawn Porter, and they should get in the ring with each other. Because this being his last fight with Bob Arum, or probably not, that would be great. That would be great. Just Shawn Porter on your resume, that would be great. That would shut up the haters. Because remember, the haters was saying Terence Crawford gotta fight somebody. He has to fight, like, at least Kell Brook. I remember that. I remember that was a thing. Everybody kept on saying Terence Crawford gotta fight Kell Brook. A lot of people was saying that Terence Crawford was gonna lose by Kell Brook. A lot of people were saying Kell Brook is too good for Terence Crawford, that Terence Crawford was gonna lose. A lot of people were saying that. A lot of people was like, at least fight Kell Brook. And because this man beat Kell Brook in 4 rounds, everybody started saying, oh, Kell Brook is a shell of himself. After Kell Brook came up with 3 straight wins, right? So when you beat Shawn Porter now, bud, they're gonna have an excuse. But we don't want to hear that shit. We don't want to hear that shit over these sides. All that excuse shit, that's out the window. Because Shawn Porter didn't get dismantled by anybody. When Shawn Porter fought Errol Spence was holding on for dear life. If he didn't get that knockdown, he lost that fight, or it was going to be a draw. So my thing with that is, bro, like, that this going to shut a lot of people up. Because I guess the Kell Brook, you beating Kell Brook in 4 rounds. And it didn't go to 12 rounds because Errol Spence went distance with Kell Brook. They expected you to go distance with Kell Brook, but they don't know that it's levels to this shit. When Kell Brook lost to Errol Spence, he was definitely a shell of himself. He was a shell of himself. He just came down from fighting Triple G, when Triple G broke his eye socket, and he went straight down to fight Errol Spence Jr. He went up to fight Triple G and went straight down to fight Errol Spence Jr. So he went and fight the best, one of the best in that division. Then he went straight down to fight Errol Spence Jr. So he was definitely a shell of himself. But on the other hand, before he fought Terence Crawford, while they was in training camp, after training camp, he said this is the best he ever felt his whole career. Physically, mentally, everything that you could think of. But now that Bud dismantled him in 4 rounds with a jab/hook knockout, people feel that Kell Brook was a shell of himself. I guess if he would have won 12 round or 10 round and Terence Crawford would have knocked him out, it would have been a whole different situation. So you really can't please the fans. You can't please the fans, especially haters. You can't please haters. Because if Terence Crawford beats Shawn Porter, what is going to be the next excuse when Terence Crawford? They're going to be like, well, Errol beat Danny Garcia. The same Danny Garcia that had an interview the other day from Fight Hype. They were asking Danny Garcia, what's next? Are you going to move to 154? Are you done with 147? And Danny Garcia said, I'm not counting out 147 yet. I don't think I'm done with 147 yet. I'm looking for a big fight at 147. And then he was asked, so what is a big fight at 147? What would you consider a big fight at 147? Danny Garcia, listen to this. Danny Garcia said Mikey Garcia. That's a big fight for Danny Garcia at 147. Mikey Garcia. And then he goes and say a rematch with Shawn Porter, with Keith Thurman. Or he will fight Shawn Porter again. They don't got to be in too much negotiation on none of that because they already fought each other. You already know what it is. So, we all know that Danny Garcia, he don't want to fight Bud, bro. He want to stay as far away from Bud as possible. So with this whole Shawn Porter coming out saying that he spoke to Bud and they might fight and fall, that is great news. That's great news. I'm not sure of if you're a fan of boxing, if you're a Terence Crawford hater. I know y'all want to get y'all popcorn and y'all want to watch Terence Crawford lose to Shawn Porter, so Terence Crawford don't have to fight Errol Spence Jr. Because let me tell y'all this, if Bud loses to Shawn Porter, Errol Spence is not going to fight him. He would never fight Terence Crawford. If Bud loses to Shawn Porter, Errol Spence is never going to fight Terence Crawford. Because he don't want to fight him now. It's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure being put on him to fight him. He stated, after he fights Manny Pacquiao and he gets through Manny Pacquiao, he's going to see Bud. That's if he gets through Manny Pacquiao. He wants to fight Bud. He's going to call Al, and he's going to make sure that Al make that fight. That came out of Errol Spence Jr. mouth. So, after he beats Manny Pacquiao, which I hope he does, because I want to see that fight. I don't want that fight to not happen. I want to see it. We're going to see if Errol Spence is going to make that proposal, and if he's going to live up to what he said, and if he's a man of his word, because your word is just gold. So let's see what he's going to do. if he beat Manny Pacquiao. So with that being said, I hope I gave y'all great news. I hope this is something y'all want to hear, because that's gonna be a great fight with Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford if it happens. But by the way it sounds, they're getting somewhere. It wasn't like before when Al Heyman is controlling Shawn Porter, telling Shawn Porter not to fight Terence Crawford. They're doing their own behind closed doors negotiation. So I hope that fight happened, y'all. And that's all I got for y'all today. And I'm out.